Welcome to the shit show.
Deliciously unhinged. Jesus.
Surprise, surprise. A shitty
It's
parent.
not, they really should have named this book The Breakfast Table.
My vagina does not think for herself.
Do it. Kill me. Get it over with.
Been there, done that.
Are you a screamer?
I'll show you a fucking mood.
I gotta tell you something.
Oh boy.
It just happened. Hold on.
Oh.
So I just got, well, I don't know if it just happened, but I just saw it. I just got a friend request on Instagram, and I'm like never on Instagram, so I don't see them very often.
No.
And just because of our conversation, I think it was last time or the time before, I have to tell you, I don't know who this person is. Somebody random. Okay. But I clicked on their profile, and their little caption in their profile says, "I'm looking for an honest and trustworthy person to take care of and pay off their bills."
Oh, good Lord.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's
Because
funny.
I just thought that was
That's
the
fucking
timing.
funny.
The timing
That's
was
hilarious.
funny. Because we were like, nobody who can do that would ever.
Bro.
Do they hear us?
Ugh. Done nothing all
did you
day, and
hear
it was
us?
kind of glorious.
I wish. So, anywho, yeah.
But that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to talk about a book. What book did we read?
Well, this week we read Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight, and Den of Vipers is a reverse harem romance. Well, yeah, I guess romance can be.
Yeah, I think it's a reverse harem, like dark
Romance.
mafia romance kind of.
Yeah. It's a bag of everything. This book wanted to be everything.
And this book was way too fucking long.
Yeah. Yeah. There were several times. I think
Way
was
too
that last
long.
time too that I said that. There were several times that I was like, we could stop now. Same thing with this book.
I think it was with the last
I
book
will
too.
say comparatively, I was into and very interested in this book for most of it until we got to the point where I was like, okay, why are we continuing?
Yeah.
Whereas like the other one, I was like, okay, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This one had my attention more because there was so much going on and it was interesting. But like I got to the 50% mark and I was like, okay, we're starting to wrap up. No, we didn't. And then I got to the 80% mark and I was like, okay, it's over.
I was like, wow, okay, we're cool now. And then no, it wasn't. I'm like, it's 80%. What the
right.
fuck?
And then we kept having random scenes that I was like, this could have all been cut.
There was a lot of that. We can discuss more of this at the end though.
As we go. Yep.
Let's try to get through this first.
Yeah.
So welcome to the shit show.
Welcome to the
nice
crazy
here.
train. We like it.
Most of the
You
time.
may not, but we do.
Clearly,
If
there
you
are
do-
people who don't.
If you do, let us know or give us a rating and it will help us know if you enjoy our crazy as much as we do.
You know,
We're not going to stop being ourselves.
but you know what? That's okay. We're not here to discuss our shitty Spotify
Nope.
ratings.
All right.
Let's talk about Den of Vipers.
Den of Vipers. All right. Well, Den of Vipers starts out with a bang. The book opens mid-scene as Diesel, Ryder, Garrett, and Kenzo, those are our male main characters, have a man named Rob tied up and roughed up. He is telling the men to take her, that they can have her. Apparently, this man, Rob, is in debt to these men, and he's offering his daughter up for trade.
Well,
that's how this book opens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryder asks where she is, and the man easily and quickly offers up that she owns a bar on the south side of the city and that she'll be there. What a scumbag.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah.
That's all. He sucks.
Kenzo tells him if they aren't satisfied with her as payment that they'll be back. Rob just wants to know if they plan to kill her. They tell him it's none of his concern when he's the one who just up and sold her off.
They do have a point.
Right? Diesel, we can already tell, is deliciously unhinged. And I was totally here for it. I thought he was going to be like psych and kill Rob anyways, but I was unfortunately saddened and disappointed, and they left.
They are men of their words.
So hopefully he gets a satisfying demise later. She said at the beginning of the book, knowing what happens now. What a piece of shit parent. Like, Jesus.
Surprise, surprise. A shitty
It's not
parent. Oh my
right,
God.
but it's not
a
like they
mom, though.
even asked for her. But
He
that's
continues to be
was all
really
he
bad.
thought he had to give for his debt. Like, newsflash, you don't own people, dude.
Doesn't even talk to her.
Apparently, now the Vipers believe they own her, though, after this little deal. So away they go to collect their new prize. Roxy, the daughter, is closing up her bar. She just sent her last customer home in a cab, and her help had an emergency and had to leave early. So she's on her own for cleanup and close-up duty. She's just about finished when she walks into the main area to find 4 large men. She tells them that the place is closed as she steps behind the bar and wraps her hand around her bat that she keeps there. They're still staring at her, so she reiterates that they are closed and tells them to get out. One of them says, "Or what? Gonna cry for help?" And she says, "No, I'll break your fucking kneecaps. Last warning, we are closed." Another one says, "This broad serious?" She doesn't like that very much and comes out from behind the bar with her bat swinging full force at the closest one's knees, crumpling him, screaming to the floor.
Well, he deserved it.
Right? She's like, "Want to call me a broad again?" The guy on the floor tells the others to get her. So she kicks him in the balls, steps back, swinging as she goes, catching one of the others in the crotch, who goes down, giving her the opportunity to bring her knee up right into his nose. She continues swinging away until one of them trips and falls into a stool, breaking it. Uh-oh. Her bar has one rule. Don't break the furniture. Everyone knows this. Even the murderers respect this rule. She flips, slamming him with her bat. He punches out and manages to catch her jaw, and a set of arms come around her. So she smashes her head back into the guy's chin as she stomps her foot and elbows his groin and breaks free. Miss
And
Congeniality
I was just
style.
going to say, and she thanks Miss Congeniality for that one.
I know. I was like, ooh. As somebody who like watched way too much Miss Congeniality in her teenage formative years, that was a thing.
Girl, same.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I recognize that, ma'am. She swings her bat and catches him right in the face. She goes back to the stool breaker who was trying to get up and whips the bat at him, knocking the last one out. She goes to grab one to attempt to start dragging him out the door when her employee that left earlier, Travis, walks back through the door. He forgot something. She's basically like, "Good, you can help." And he's like, "Never a dull moment with you." And they drag the men into the alley out back. After locking up, she calls the police to let them know what happened, and Travis heads out, and Roxy sets the alarm and heads upstairs where she lives above the bar. What an entry for our FMC. Though I was convinced at this moment that the 4 in the bar must have been hired idiots, because there's no way that our MMCs could have just had all their ass handed to them in 2 seconds, or I was going to throw this book in the fire.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be them. Originally, I was like, oh, 4 people. Okay, so it's definitely our MMCs. And then they were discussing
The
them.
first
I was
line.
like, oh, these are definitely not
Nope.
them.
Yep. And then
Absolutely
I was like, yep.
not them.
The second the first one didn't even put up a fight, I was like, nope.
Yeah, absolutely not.
It would have been great if she took them out, but like, didn't even put up a fight? Nope. And it didn't take long for me to get my answer. And that's exactly what happened, because in the next chapter, Ryder gets a call and he informs Garrett that the 4 guys that he sent are in lockup, beaten up and arrested. He
Because
says
it should be known that she knows pretty much everybody. So they managed to get the cops there and just arrest them instead of murdering these motherfuckers.
Right.
On a dive bar in a really shitty part of town.
She's got some good clientele. He says that if you want something
good is a little subjective here.
He says that if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. I mean, true story, bro. And says tomorrow afternoon that they will pay. He has to look at his paperwork to find her info. Roxanne a visit. The second he said Roxanne, I was like, ooh, she gonna hate that. He takes a better look at the info his people have gathered on her. Seems the 24-year-old bar owner has quite the rep. Some seem to even be afraid of her, and then he sees her picture and is shocked at how hot she is. Kenzo, over his shoulder, yells dibs. Ryder just says to think with your brain, not your dick, until they manage to get her. Ryder is wondering if she's going to be more trouble than she's worth. Probably. Just
Most
saying.
likely.
Roxy heads down to get the bar ready to be opened up the next day. She lets in Cook, her chef, and he can tell by her face that she was just waiting for him to come so that she can be fed. There's a knock at the front door, which makes her grumble since they're obviously closed. You take a hint, come on. But it's a local cop named Fred who is there to warn her / let her know that the 4 dudes from last night are already bailed out and from someone with high connections. He's like, you must have pissed off someone important. You better figure it out or get gone. And he leaves. She's thinking that there's no way she's going to let some man make her run. Been there, done that. We don't really have any insight on any of that right now, but she lets us know that.
Been there, done that.
She gets busy opening up the bar. She's filling drink orders when 4 large armed men walk through the door, and suddenly the customers empty out of the place. The atmosphere changes. She hollers for Cook to go home, figuring these must be the people looking for her and she doesn't want anyone else getting hurt. She asks, "Who are you?" Ryder tells her to have a seat. Roxy tells him to fuck off and to get out. Diesel pouts about her being tiny and easy to break. She yells at him and threatens him before Ryder tells her to please sit. So she does. He introduces himself as Ryder Viper, which is such an interesting name. I mean, I know it's his chosen name, but like, let me introduce myself. So she realizes, as in the Vipers that run the freaking city. He names off Diesel, Kenzo, and Garrett for her, and she's like, great. Want to tell me why you sent people to attack me? He explains that they were not supposed to do that, only to take her, and that they are being dealt with for one of them hitting her. He tells her that they will die for it. She's freaked out by all of this and asks why they want her. Ryder explains about her dad owing them a debt, and she scoffs, saying she would kill her dad if she saw him. And she asks, how much does he owe? Like, just let me know so I can just pay it and get you out of here, kind of thing. And Diesel comes close to her and is like, no, we made a deal with your daddy. Are you a screamer? Roxy punches him in the face, and he just laughs and says, again? He's so fucking psycho. And Ryder says, enough. Roxy wants to know what kind of deal Ryder says for you, and she realizes what the slimy old man thinks that he's done. She leaps up, grabs her bat from behind the bar, and tells them to get out, that his debts are his, and that they can take it from him. Ryder tells Diesel and Garrett to go upstairs and pack her a bag. She tries to block them, but Garrett is this huge, massive Hulk-like dude who literally fights for a job. And she swings her bat at him, and he just grabs it mid-swing, like, boop, caught midair. She knees him in the balls, but while she's focused on Garrett, Diesel punches her, knocking her out. So, I mean, put up a fight and stuff, Kenzo and Diesel go up to get clothes for Roxy while Garrett ices his crotch. Diesel finds a gun under her pillow and is practically giddy. I think I'm in love. Do you think she would shoot me if I ask? I was like, bro. They gather her things for her, and Ryder instructs Garrett to pick her up, and they all head out. Roxy wakes up in a huge, glamorous bedroom that is certainly not hers. She doesn't find much that she can use for a weapon, so she rips the lamp off the wall before proceeding to the door, only to find it locked. This does not make her happy. After a bit, she's now both bored and angry, which is not a great combination. So she decides to do something about how pristine this cage is. She takes the lamp into the bathroom and smashes it into the mirror, accidentally cutting herself. Oh well, the blood dripping is helping the mess. Then she uses the shards to tear at the bed, shredding it up, even down to ripping open the mattress. The door opens and she slips the shards into the back pockets of her shorts. Ryder walks in. She demands to be let go. He says her father sold her, that she's theirs now. She says you can't sell a person. He shrugs and says, well, it's done. She whips out her hand with one of the pieces towards his face, and he catches her hand just in time. Ryder explains she's theirs to do whatever they want. There's nothing she can do. Deal with it. He says, I can see that you're in a mood. I'll leave you to think about this. And then he turns and leaves, closing and locking the door behind him. What a little fucking dingleberry. If you want to piss off a woman, like, I can see you're in a mood right now.
I'll show you a fucking mood.
Right?
Bitch.
Later, we get our first glimpse of her childhood in the form of a nightmare, showcasing neglect from her parents and physical abuse from her father. When she wakes, Diesel is in her room and pounces on her, bringing her hands above her head. She jerks and fights at him, and they wrestle to the floor. He asks her if she likes pain and says that he will fuck her, but not tonight. He wants to have his toys with him. He sees her wrapped up hand that she cut and traps her hand back down to squeeze the wound to get a reaction. He likes her reactions and attempts at not reacting to him and keeps at it, digging in and then grabbing her lip and biting down until she screams, and then the door opens. Garrett comes in and tells him to leave her be, and he cheekily saunters out. Garrett steps in and asks if she's all right. Roxy screams, fuck you, and busies herself trying to stop the bleeding again. Garrett goes to get a first aid kit, careful to keep the door locked at all times. He cleans and bandages up her hand again, and she pleads with him to let her go. He says no and leaves again. When the sun comes up, Roxy has been stewing the rest of the night and is prepared to do whatever it takes to fight or go down swinging. Kenzo comes in and tells her to come eat breakfast. She goes down with him. Kenzo warns her not to try her luck, that Diesel is itching to chase and catch her. She sits at the table with everyone, and Kenzo gets her a plate full of food. She asks Ryder about her bar. He says that they will probably sell or destroy it. She can't help her heart stopping. Please don't. He says, fine. While we decide what to do, your associates can carry on the business. She asks if they know what happened. He tells her they were told she has a family emergency. She scoffs because everyone knows she has no family. She even got emancipated at 17. The boys start freely talking business to each other, not caring that she's in the room. She doesn't like that implication. Nor would I. That doesn't bode well. They discuss meetings and places they need to be. Apparently, people are also coming to fix the room, so Kenzo is on babysitting duty. Or, I guess I should say prisoner duty. Ryder, Diesel, and Garrett head out. Kenzo tells her that she can explore if she would like, while he takes a phone call. Feels like a trap, but, she's got to try. All the doors are locked from the
If it
outside.
feels like a trap, it is a trap.
Right? All the doors are locked, and you need scanners to open them, which is kind of weird. This whole apartment's super high tech.
It's not weird
No,
in
but
the
I meant
context of who they are, but
no,
yes.
for her. She explores upstairs, and
Didn't we already talk about that? Talk about her escaping now.
we haven't gotten there yet. You just had a whole 20% of the book skip ahead in your brain. You're like, I'm done.
Oh no, because I just remember I just heard you say it's super secure, which is kind of weird, and she felt
This
like
is
it
when
was a
Kenzo
trap.
said
So
she
I
could
thought
explore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ignoring
So she's
it.
explored. That's okay. So she explores upstairs.
Exploring, escaping. It's for the
She
same
finds
thing.
she finds a very neat and tidy bedroom, and she finds all suits hanging in the closet. Very Ryder. It makes her grab some scissors from a drawer, and oops, now he has more suits. Many, many more pieces of suits. She leaves Diesel's messy room alone, and also Kenzo's. She doesn't want him to catch her snooping. Garrett's quiet makes her curious, so she does snoop into his room. It's very sparse, seeming barely lived in, but she does find a ring in the side table, just as Kenzo finds her and tells her she really shouldn't be in there. He asks if she wants to play a game. She's like, no. I see how you
want
watch
to play a game. This is not Saw, guys.
Might as well be.
I know.
She's like, I see how you watch everything and the dice you play with in your pocket. No thanks. He asks why she's not more afraid of them. Roxy tells him that she's been scared every day of her life. You just get used to it. Kenzo tells her that he can understand that they aren't as different as she thinks. He says that they're still working on the room, so let's go relax. They go downstairs and watch TV. Her room gets finished, and Kenzo tells her that her bags are in there and that she should go shower and change, that she's starting to smell.
I would
Oh,
punch him right in the face.
so many times.
She does
When
do it a lot, but
he actually does, I know. When the boys return, Ryder asks Kenzo where Roxy is. He says hiding, that he caught her snooping earlier. Ryder just sighs, and Garrett and him head up to take showers. Garrett is just finishing his when he hears yells coming from down the hall. He peeks out just in time for Roxy to barrel towards him and slip into his room. He shuts the door behind them, asking her, "What makes you think I'll save you?" He slams her against the door, holding her by the neck. She says, "Do it. Kill me. Get it over with." He's squeezing and squeezing, lost in the past. Garrett hates women. He has something that happened to him that we haven't fully learned yet, but yeah, he squeezes until Ryder makes it through the door and through his haze and gets him to let go.
that's when you should be very concerned.
Roxy, after catching her breath, starts up again about just do it, that she's not going to just sit around waiting for it to happen. Ryder tells her she doesn't give the orders. Roxy tells them that they will regret taking her and tells Garrett that if he ever touches her again, she will slit his throat, and winds up and punches him right in the nose and walks out. Ryder offers to Garrett that they can kill her, get her out of there, and that he's sorry for her being there and bringing shit up for him. Garrett tells him no, he'll just keep his space until they decide what to do with her. Garrett heads to the pits to work his frustrations out with fighting. Such a interesting dynamic, all of them.
Oh, for sure.
After hiding in her room for the rest of the evening and getting some sleep through the night, Roxy heads down to breakfast the next morning. Ryder, who she notices is wearing the only suit that didn't get cut up, that makes her smirk, tells her to actually eat this morning since she refused yesterday. Roxy figures that they would all be dead by now if they were poisoning the food and scarfs down the plate that Kenzo makes up for her. Ryder discusses their plans for the day. Kenzo is on Roxy duty again. One of Ryder's errands will be getting new clothes. He tells Roxy she needs better ones too, so he'll bring her some back. She doesn't like that. She likes her clothes and her style, and she doesn't need no man dressing her or buying her things.
Also, like, typically stuff like that comes with strings.
Exactly. Garrett and Ryder leave, and Roxy goes back to her room. Hours later, she hears Diesel getting ready to leave and peeks downstairs. Kenzo is busy on the phone and the computer, so she makes the attempt. She waits until Diesel walks out and then catches and holds the door before it closes and auto locks. She waits until the elevator closes and slips out. The elevator also has a scanner, like the door, so she can't use that. She spots a fire door at the end of the hall, and it takes her into the stairwell. She goes down and down, trying every floor.
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
I'm gonna cover you. Crystal acting out everything I say as I go is I can't keep composure. She goes down and down, trying every floor, but each floor door is locked with the stupid scanners. Finally, one opens. It's the parking garage. She has to move in small windows, though, to avoid the sweeping cameras. But she grabs a random key fob from the rack and finds the car that it belongs to and hops in. She doesn't get very far driving toward the exit when alarms sound and barriers pop up in her path, causing her to slam the brakes to make her crash into them. That's when she becomes so frustrated and lost and gets out and grabs a crowbar and starts hitting the shit out of the car until the sound of clapping stops her. Diesel and Kenzo are standing about 10 feet away. Kenzo tells Diesel, "Told you she wouldn't make it." And then the garage door opens and Garrett and Ryder walk in, and Ryder looks pissed. Very different from his Iceman persona that he usually wears. He asks why he was pulled out of a meeting. Kenzo explains that she got out and he found her on the cameras and deployed the barriers. And then she went crazy on his car.
Which
Ryder's
means
car.
they did not notice she was gone for quite some time.
So there was a chance. There was an opportunity.
Uh-huh.
Ryder grabs Roxy by the arm and drags her into the elevator. He warns her not to push him, or he will show her and everyone else how much she truly does want the people she claims to hate. that they have been nice, but now all bets are off. Ryder gets off the elevator and he tells Diesel that Roxy is his for the rest of the day. Well, guess she's gonna learn why they've been keeping him at a distance from her. Oopsie daisies. Somebody's
Diesel's
letting the
so
crazy out to
unhinged,
play. Right?
and I love him so
It's so
much.
fun though. Yeah.
Oh my God. He made me laugh so much.
Yeah. This fanny packs. Garrett reaches out and grabs Diesel by the arm and murmurs to him not to go too hard on her. Diesel says, "Thought you didn't care." He says he doesn't and storms off. Kenzo tells him not to break her, that he hasn't had a turn yet, and heads into the apartment. Diesel presses the basement button on the elevator and says, "This is going to be fun." When they get to the bottom, she starts backing up and threatening him. He tells her later, "We have someone to deal with right now," and leads her out to a naked man chained to the ceiling, already covered in blood. This was what Diesel was in the middle of when Kenzo sounded the alarm on her escape attempt. Diesel tells Roxy that this man, Declan, tried to get someone to kill Garrett. He tells the man to answer his questions or he will scalpel off his nipples. Like,
That sounds
bro,
so painful.
what the fuck? Roxy seems horrified, but also a little intrigued. I mean, accurate.
And other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I don't think she's quite there yet. I think it took a minute. Diesel tells her what an awful person Declan is, how he even raped his stepdaughter. And that takes the horrified down quite a notch. Yeah. And then she takes the scalpel from Diesel and holds it to Declan's chest and asks if that's true. He tries to lie. She knows that it's a lie and then slices until he calls the little girl a tease. So she hands back the scalpel to Diesel and says, "Make it hurt." Diesel slices both nipples off and burns the wound shut. But now he has to wait for the dude to wake up again because he passed out, and it's no fun when they aren't awake.
I took a giant bite of my burger when you said he sliced off his nipples.
Well, I mean, you knew what we were reading.
I'm well aware.
It's like going to a horror movie with dinner or something. Diesel corners Roxy, and she asks about this being his role. He offers her a deal, a kiss for information. He can see her responding to him, even with all the crazy. And she says yes, and angry kisses him, and then asks what everyone's jobs are. He tells her that Kenzo is the bookie. He owns all the city's gambling. Garrett is the enforcer. Ryder is the face and the brains. Diesel says he's where you go when you're at the end. But then Declan wakes up and Roxy watches as Diesel takes his time finishing him off and setting him ablaze. After he cleans up, they head upstairs for dinner. Ryder lets her know that the following morning he, Garrett, and Diesel will be gone trying to track down information on who sent the assassin. This part was so murky because we didn't have the information about this assassin or the attempt. And then all of a sudden it was somebody else who was the actual assassin. And I thought it was Declan. And it was just,
Yeah, it was weird. Because
yeah.
we have so much information about so many things, but then there's also stuff that we don't have any information at all about that we
Because at
somehow
first I
just need to
thought
know.
Declan was the assassin, but then we found out it was actually somebody else that was the assassin. So maybe there was
Yeah.
two assassination attempts
But we don't know.
before we started the book, and we just don't really know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So they're going to go try to track down information on who sent assassins after them. We're going to just go with that. He also lets her know that she has new clothes in her room and reminds her to behave while they're gone, or he will have to start locking her in her room again. Later, in her room, Roxy is going through all the stuff, and she's very much surprised that it is her style. She's trying to convince herself to keep better distance from them so that they won't find out that her body is a betraying bitch around them. She tends to talk to her vagina quite a bit because
Honestly, that part annoyed the shit out of me.
really,
Yeah. Part of it,
funny.
I think it was
I
just
didn't
how
think
she
it was
referred to it.
overdone because in some books it has annoyed me super bad when it was
Yeah.
overdone. I didn't think it was overdone in this one,
I just don't
but
like
it was almost on the same page as men referring to their dicks. I can understand that.
I don't know what it was. I
I don't
think it was
like it
just
when
how she referred to it just
third
bothered
person.
me. I
I
was
don't
like,
like it when you refer to other body parts as entities of their own.
My vagina does not think for herself.
Right.
I think. Yeah, it was
She was just mad because these people were turning her on and
well,
she
I
hated them.
understand
I
that
know.
part. I think
Right.
it was just how she spoke about it.
It
I didn't
was.
like.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. So the next morning, she's on the couch when Kenzo comes in shirtless, looking post-workout. She mentally yells at her vagina again, and he smirks and calls her out on drooling and asks if she wants to play a game. That if she wins, she'll get her freedom, and if he wins, he will get her. He suggests poker. She says, hell no. So he says, you pick. And she picks a drinking game so that he can't cheat, except he finds a loophole and flashes her to distract her, causing her to actually lose. Kenzo picks her up and tosses her onto the couch. He kisses her. She bites his lip. He explores and finds that she's pierced. He drops down and starts going down on her until she comes, and it hits her that she just allowed that with her kidnapper. And she rolls away and storms off.
Okay. So I have one thing about this piercing situation. They kind of made it like slightly a deal, and then it was kind of like ignored for like 90% of the book. Like they talked about it during this, and he was like, "Ooh, this is great." Like they were excited about it. But then like every other encounter that she has, like no one else mentions it.
It's mentioned in every single encounter they have,
I didn't think so.
almost every single one.
Oh, maybe I just missed it, but like I didn't see it that way.
Like where someone would like flick her piercing and then she'd come.
Ignore me.
Like it was like a small sentence, but like it wasn't, they didn't make a huge. I thought maybe, I thought they were going to make Diesel's a big deal, but they
Which
didn't.
they didn't either because she's gonna be
So
like,
I was
"Oh,
sad
I
about
can't
that.
wait for it to feel this," and then
Right. I was sad about that one.
okay,
I could care less about her piercing
yeah.
because that means nothing to me. So I was on the other side of that. I don't know. He follows and catches her. Roxy says she hates him, but Kenzo says, no, you hate that you loved that. So she slaps him. He pulls his pants down and she's like, hell no, and punches him right in the face, and then does it again and goes to a third time, but he catches her wrist. He takes off his pants. She hates that this turns her on. He spins her around and slams her against the wall and fucks her. They have angry hate sex. They finish and then they find Diesel watching at the end of the hall. Roxy storms off to her room and slams the door. This whole scene was wild. After everyone has gone to sleep, Diesel slips into Roxy's room and climbs into the bed with her and just holds her. He's seen people do this on TV, so he thought this was the right thing to do.
Such an odd statement.
Diesel was an odd statement. After a bit, she starts to have a nightmare, so he wakes her and then he teases her about her and Kenzo and gets her to admit that she actually did want it. Roxy kisses Diesel and he gets so lost in her until he realizes she distracted him just to get his knife that he had clipped to his boxers. Like, dude just has a knife on him at all times. And like, he's
I
so fucking
mean,
crazy.
we've met him, right?
Right. And now it's at his throat. He says, do it, and leans against the knife while also grinding against her. He tells her that she can cut off his hand and use it to escape. She realizes that she can't allow herself to do that. She tosses the knife down and says that they ruined her life, took the only thing that mattered to her, her bar, well, and her freedom. Roxy tells Diesel about Rich and how he owned the bar, and he helped her off the streets and gave her a job and a home and then died on her, cancer. Diesel tells her his mom was a junkie like hers, used to use him to and sell him until he landed in juvie, and that he got out of juvie just in time to get home to his house in flames and his mother screaming as he tried to get in and save her to no avail. He says that she's just like the rest of them, another viper in search of a home. The others might not realize why they want her yet, but he does, and he says that he sees it clearly. He tells her to think about all that and that she can keep the knife and then leaves. The next morning at breakfast, Ryder is talking about plans for the day and how he wants Kenzo to find a forger to point them in the direction of who helped the assassin. Roxy says she knows a guy. Ryder seems unconvinced, but she explains all about the different people in and out of the bar and how she will connect them to him as long as they take her with them. They get ready to head out, making sure their weapons are set. Roxy asks if she can have her bat if she promises not to hit Garrett and Junk again. Ryder says no, so she runs up and gets the knife from her room, which makes Diesel happy. Ryder is not liking how chummy they seem. Diesel is supposed to scare and be a threat to her. Roxy, yeah, and it's not working out that way, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
He turns into like this little whipped puppy.
It's really cute.
It's
Like a
really adorable,
psychotic,
but it's so
deranged whipped
fucking
puppy.
funny.
But yeah, Roxy directs them where to go in the car, and they arrive. Tiny is the dude who is anything but, and has an armory, and is quite the crank. They get info, well, some, in exchange for Tiny drinking free at the bar. The guy who went through him is a German that he doesn't really have the name of, but he's good. And then they leave. On their way to the car, Garrett gets the not right feeling and draws his gun, just as shooting starts. He pins Roxy behind them, and they tighten together until Garrett can take the guy out. He's scanning the rest of the rooftops as Roxy starts trying to get his attention, but he ignores her, trying to concentrate. She pulls his second gun from his back and shoots the guy coming towards Garrett on the left, almost getting the drop on him. She tries to give him the gun back, but he tells her to hold on to it. They make it to the car and get out of there, realizing they must have been followed from the apartment. Ryder is immediately on the phone with their security people, demanding footage of them leaving that morning to make identities, to increase security, and that they are going into lockdown. Ryder hangs up, and Roxy whines that she's hungry. Ryder tells her that there's food at home, but Diesel and Kenzo start in too. So Garrett suggests going to a place called Rizzo's, that the owner might have info for them, and people would expect them to go straight back, so works all around. They get to Rizzo's and meet Red. Garrett is suddenly protective of his gun's new owner, refusing to leave her side. They ask Red to try to find out info on the attacks. They make it clear to Red that Roxy is theirs. After they order, Roxy tells Ryder that he should really give her access to a phone, that she has connections that can be utilized. That she's obviously stuck with them. The least she can do is make it so she doesn't die. I mean,
She's got a point.
right? Ryder hands her his phone, which is shocking since even the boys don't touch his phone, and she makes a call. She finds out that the recent shootout was done by a gang called the Death Eaters.
Like Harry Potter.
It's like, insert crystal here.
Oh, yeah, it's Harry Potter, bitches.
And that they are easy for hire, kind of like with Voldemort. And she tells them where they're located. She gives Ryder back his phone, and Diesel excuses himself to the bathroom. So Kenzo hops in his seat next to Roxy. He starts touching her under the table until she's all like, "You wouldn't dare," drawing everyone's attention, including Diesel, who just got back. He's basically like, "Challenge accepted," and fingers her while everyone watches with rapt attention. Diesel even takes his tattooed, pierced dick out right at the table to jerk off to the show. I just wish that it was talked about more. So
Same Z's, especially
sad
the
moment.
like. I know it's
All
pierced,
of it.
but like tattooed and
Tattooed. I know. I don't get that as often.
I want
It's
to
fun when I
know.
do.
Can you show
I
me?
want to know. Can you show
Show me. Apparently not. We just get to
Nope.
hear about it.
At
Lame.
the table in a restaurant?
Lame.
Yeah, super lame. She finishes just in time for their food to arrive. Roxy knows what it's like to not know when your next meal will be. So she has this internal struggle knowing that she can't waste food trying to finish her bread when she's way overstuffed. Ryder, knowing and seeing, reaches over and takes and eats it for her, even though he normally wouldn't eat something like that. Ryder's like superpower is the ability to read people. Plus, he's been there before. Roxy looks over and sees Garrett's plate is untouched. He says his hunger isn't for food. Well, then. Their moment is interrupted by Ryder's phone ringing. He says we need to go and flags down Red to tell him this. Red tells him he was able to learn while they're eating that there's a bounty for their head, a large one, that they need to be prepared for more. They head back to the apartment that has a ton more guards now in and around it to drop off Roxy so they can take care of the gang. The boys bust into the place like gangbangers, literally, from their specific entry places, and it doesn't take long until the place is covered with bodies. One guy is left, the leader. Ryder asks if he knows who Ryder is. He does. He explains in great detail the torture that he is about to receive. Thank you for the no.
Just so you're so well aware, it took me
A
a
long
few
time I
seconds
saw
to
that.
understand what you were saying because it looked like you were talking to somebody above your mic because usually you'll do that. And I'm like, what is she doing? And I'm like, nope, I know what she's doing.
Thank you for the torture that I'm about to receive. He explains in great detail the torture he is about to receive to get him to talk. It begins. The guy doesn't make it long before singing. A group called the Triad put out a hit. The Triad used to be in charge of things and are attempting to take power back. Ryder finishes his torture and then packages up the dude's pieces to send out as a message across the city. So that's cool. While the boys were gone, Roxy convinced some of the guards to play poker with her to help pass the time. She was cleaning them out and beating all their butts. One of them took great offense to this, mainly because she's female, and accuses her of cheating.
He got his little man feelings hurt.
Right? He grabs her wrist to try to take her cards, but he does it really harshly and twists right as the elevator opens and the blood-stained men walk in. Dun dun dun. They don't like this. One of the other guards even throws the dude under the bus and tells Ryder that he called her a bitch.
Dude, so
Like,
funny.
yeah. Ryder grabs the man and throws him down onto the coffee table. He asks for a hammer. Garrett obliges. Ryder takes the hammer to both the dude's hands, breaking them and his fingers, and then cuts out his tongue. Well, for touching and calling, you know. And then tells the others to get him out of there. Roxy is all like, you can't go around maiming and killing anyone that touches me. I'm not property. Everyone else is like, oh shit, and gets out of there knowing that Roxy is in for it. Ryder
They're like,
tells,
yeah, good luck. Bye.
yeah, they're like, we'll let Ryder handle this one because they see Ryder's face. They're like, uh-oh, shit's about to go down. Ryder tells her that he can and he will, so she better figure out how to stop people from touching her or more will die, and it's on her. He says that she needs to be punished for distracting them and letting someone touch her. Roxy goes to walk off, but Ryder grabs her and slams his mouth against hers. When he lets go, he says, time for your punishment, and bends her over, takes off his belt, and spanks her with it. Ryder then goes to the sofa, sits down, and tells Roxy to strip and crawl to him. Roxy debates this one for like a whole hot minute, but at the moment, she wants what he's offering more than she wants her defiance and,
For dignity.
yeah, she wants his dick more right now, so she crawls. Fucking bitch. No dick is worth that. I mean,
I would never.
it's worth it.
Besides the fact that I don't like that, I am also.
Besides the fact that my knees just can't handle that.
My knees are bad. I am uncoordinated. It is not sexy. Like,
Nope.
no, thank you. No
Nope.
man is worth crawling.
Nope.
I don't even care if fucking Henry Cavill is sitting right there and tells me to crawl. No. He could tell me to bark and I probably would bark, but I'm not going to crawl.
I don't think I'd bark either.
I don't know. I do a lot for that man.
But
Except I wouldn't
do
crawl.
that.
I wouldn't crawl. No, thanks.
So yeah, she submits. Defiantly, but she submits. He plucks her up onto his lap, plays with her nipples, and then drops her onto his dick and instructs her to ride him. When they finish, exhaustion takes over Roxy.
Which is funny because his name is Ryder.
Except he wants her to ride him.
I know. I was
I
going to
know.
make that joke so many times, and I'm like, nope, I can't. I gotta stay shut.
He really should have ride her. Yeah. She's exhausted. She stayed up all the whole time waiting for them to come home, and she's toasted. Ryder picks her up and carries her up to his bed. He cleans her up and climbs in beside her. When Roxy wakes up, she's alone in bed and realizes she slept practically the entire day. She heads downstairs and sees Diesel and Garrett getting ready to leave. Diesel tells her that they're going to a fight to poke around for info, and against Garrett's grumbles, he invites her to go. She changes real quick and they head out. They head into a very crowded warehouse. Garrett puts her onto a pile of crates and instructs her not to move, and then takes off his shirt and his weapons, putting them on Roxy's lap, and then heads into the ring. Diesel tells her that he's going to go listen to the crowd and that he will have eyes on her, and heads into it. They announce Garrett into the ring with an enormous dude, and Roxy gets so lost watching she doesn't even notice a man approaching her. Once she does, she tells him to get lost. He's like, "Oh, come on," and grabs her thigh. She grabs his hand and snaps his wrist back, and then grabs Garrett's gun and aims it at him and tells him to leave before she shoots. He does. She turns back to the fight only to realize it had paused and all eyes are on her exchange until Garrett nods and sees that she's good and they can resume again. That shit was great.
Respect.
Yeah, I loved Garrett's energy with the whole like schnoop. But after that, the crowd gives her a wide berth because they realize. Yeah. Garrett finishes his fight and they head home. Garrett pounds up to his room and slams the door. Roxy follows. She asks, "Want to talk about it?" He says, "Fuck off." She says, "Let me help." Garrett says he hates that she saw him like that. She tells him how much she loved it, how hot it was, how it turns her on. He grabs her and drags her to the shower. Garrett tears off her shoes, shirt, and shorts, pushes her to her knees, and then uses her shirt to tie her hands behind her back. He takes off his own shorts and turns on the water. He grabs her head and fucks her face hard, comes and storms out. Like so fucking hard that like her lips are bleeding. Diesel's there a few moments later and unties her and carries her to her room. He tells her to keep pushing and trying to break through. He tucks her into bed. Ryder and Kenzo, while out, go to a spa, and Ryder asks to talk to Sandra. Sandra tells them to follow her to her office. Before following, Ryder announces to the customers that the spa is closed and their guards escort everyone out. It seems they loaned Sandra the money for the spa, and she stopped paying and has been in cahoots with the triad. They give her the opportunity to make it right. Well, she knows that she is honestly lucky with that chance. So, I mean, come on. So, obviously, she does. They grab some spa stuff to bring back for Roxy, and Kenzo suggests that they stop and get more stuff to make her feel at home since they obviously are keeping her, right? Ryder says he doesn't know, that she'll never be happy without her freedom, but he sighs and agrees to go to the store. They pick out jewelry and clothes for Roxy and then drive around a bit. They're out hoping to be bait, basically. They are hoping being out in the open that the German assassin will make another attempt and that they can get him. Kenzo guides Ryder to a good spot to get out and pretend to make a call. It takes a bit, but the trap works. They take the dude down. He'll be a nice present for Diesel. So they take him back. Garrett has been basically ignoring Roxy all day, so she spent the day poking and irritating him, trying to get a rise out of him. She mentions to Diesel that she actually has a tattoo appointment coming up and asks if she can still go. This finally gets Garrett to talk. He says no one else is allowed to touch her. Diesel says Garrett should just do it, since he did all theirs. She likes that idea, since theirs are really good. He says no, and she starts to taunt him about being so angry and hating women, and how he wants her and hates himself for it. Garrett loses her. Nope. Garrett loses it and grabs her by the throat. "Where are you, Roxy? Garrett can't find you. Crystal is not amused." She says, "Kill me now or stop using your fear as an excuse to push me away." He tosses her onto the sofa and storms to his room. For a fucking Hulk-sized man, he sure tantrums away a lot. "I'm going to my room."
Listen, sometimes they're giant babies.
Stop. Well, she follows him and finds him tearing the room apart in a giant toddler tantrum. She asks if he's done yet, because honestly, that would have been my response too. Like, "Are you done yet? You done?"
No.
He says to stop pushing him. She tells him that she sees the same pain in his eyes. She loved her father through most of the abuse. He broke and crumbled her until she became a survivor. And then when she thought she was free and healing and thriving, he sold her. That Garrett needs to move past survival mode. He says he doesn't know how. She says, first admit it. Talk about it, at least to yourself. She says, "I know you hate me, but you can even talk to me if you want." He says the problem is that he doesn't hate her. The last girl he cared about hurt him. He says they shouldn't have accepted the deal with her father. She says what's done is done. She is one of them now, and she needs to learn how to be that. They decide to try to get along. Ryder and Kenzo get back, and she says she's going down with Diesel to help get the info from the assassin. Diesel plays with his prey while Roxy keeps him in check until he confirms that the Triad sent the assassin and learns that they have someone feeding them information. Someone like an old employee or someone who has information, a mole. But it's old intel, that's why they think it's someone who no longer is with them. Diesel finishes the guy off, and they're both turned on. He puts her
Yeah, they
wrists
are.
He puts her wrists up in the hanging chains and cuts open her clothes. He traces the knife along her skin and then fucks her with the handle. He canes her with a wooden pole and then fucks her as he chokes her. He gets the knife again and then cuts her chest to revel in her blood, and then sticks the handle in her ass, making it so that the blade cuts him as he fucks her. This whole thing is fucking wild. And I was really into Diesel until like this whole thing, and then I was like, I don't think this is for me. Just
You think? How do you think I felt?
uh,
Knives don't belong there.
yeah, I was like, you're purposely just like stabbing yourself. I was like, that just, I mean, you do you, buddy. Glad you're into this, but maybe you're just not as attractive for me anymore. Roxy stitches him up after, though, and she asks if his name is really Diesel. He tells her no, that his real name is Case, but Case died in the fire with his mom. He's been Diesel ever since. When they're ready, Diesel carries her up to the elevator and brings her into the apartment. Kenzo takes her so that Diesel can give the others the info he learned, and Kenzo draws her a bath and gets in with her, cleaning her up and relaxing. Afterwards, they join the rest of the boys back in the living room. They show her all the presents that Ryder and Kenzo picked out for her. She struggles and admits that it's hard because these are her first ever presents. They're surprised and ask when her birthday is. She doesn't really know for sure. Ryder will find out. She finishes opening everything, realizing how much it means for them to give, so she allows this, even though it's hard for her. Roxy demands food after all that, and Kenzo and Ryder head into the kitchen as Garrett passes her a box and says one more from him. It's a gun with Viper's Girl engraved on it. He says he will take her later to make sure that she can use it properly. They eat, and Roxy falls asleep on the couch. When she wakes up, Garrett takes her to try out her new gun. Apparently, they have a shooting range on the floor of their building. They both act like she didn't expertly take out the gang dude a little while back.
Bro, okay.
And that's irritating.
Right?
And that she's never handled a gun before.
She
even
shot
though
him
she
right in the
also,
forehead.
like
Right.
dead fucking
Dead
center
center.
from
She's
a
just
while
like-
away. Not only that, but she fucking threatened this other dude with the gun, and like she's done
Very
nothing but
clearly she
show
has used
that
a gun
she has
before.
gun experience. And she told him that she's been to the range. And then they both sit here and act like she's never handled a gun before. I was like,
Right?
blew my, like, what?
I knew that was gonna bother you too.
So much.
Bothered the fuck
I
out
was
of
like,
me.
what the fuck?
It bothered me so bad.
Like, what the fuck? Garrett's shirt rises up, though, as they're doing things, and it makes her stare at his abs, but he gets all self-conscious about his scars and shuts down. She tells him that he doesn't get to do that. He doesn't get to learn shit about her and then shut down every time it's his turn. He says he doesn't want anything to do with her, and as soon as the others get bored, they'll toss her aside like all the rest. She'll never be one of them. She'll be nothing more than a debt. Storms off again in his toddler rage.
Honestly, though,
I liked him. I'm like, I
I did
say
too.
all this.
More so, like, she realistically doesn't have, like, he doesn't have to share with her.
No. And she pushes his
So-
buttons constantly. The amount of times that like they say the words he stormed off
Mhm.
only in referencing to Garrett, it just was like, really,
It was a
bro.
lot, yeah.
She takes her frustrations out on the targets for a bit, though, until Ryder finds her. He tells her to not let Garrett get into her head, that he's just scared. And by the way, her birthday is May 7th. He did find that out. I just to follow up, that was followed up on. The next day, Ryder is working from home while the rest of the boys are out making sure no one else local dares to take up on the bounty. Roxy is bored, so she goes into Ryder's office and he puts her to work sucking his dick, and then he fucks her. The next morning at breakfast, Diesel is all excited and wants to show Roxy something. He got a new tattoo, a little bird, his nickname for her, on his chest, and it's perched on a snake, just chilling.
Bro, so funny and unhinged.
He's so funny. After breakfast, Kenzo invites her to go with him to a game. They get to some dude's mansion he's having some kind of private poker event, and Kenzo hits the dude up for info, obviously taking the time to loudly fuck Roxy while the guy is acquiring said info. Guy comes back in and lets him know that there's a huge hit coming their way. Kenzo and Roxy make their way through the tables, with Roxy cleaning the cranky rich men out. When they've pissed off nearly everyone there, she says she's bored and that it's time to leave. On the way back home, he takes her to his mother's grave. He likes to come here sometimes to clear his head. He tells her about his mom a bit, and then he tells Roxy that he's falling in love with her and that she better get on board because it's happening, at her panicked face. Later in the middle of the night at home, Roxy hears Garrett yelling in his sleep and goes to check on him. Mid-nightmare, her waking him makes him lash out and hold her down by the throat until the fog clears. She tries to get him to talk about it, telling him that she cares. He doesn't believe her, says he's damaged. She says his scars make her feel connected to him because she has scars too. But he doesn't get to tell her she's not attracted to him just because he's scared. She asks if he's okay, and Garrett tells her that the nightmares have been bad lately. She tells him she'll go. He says don't. He grabs her and kisses her. She moves on him, deepening the kiss. But he reacts and pins her down. He shares that the woman who scarred him did it above him while he was tied down. So it triggered him. Things like that trigger him. She offers to let him tie her down and play. He agrees, so she goes quickly into Diesel's room to get something that he can tie her down with, which is funny. Roxy strips and gets down on the bed while Garrett secures her. He sheds his boxers, and they don't need to wait. He just starts fucking her right away. They've waited long enough. The next morning at breakfast, it's just her and Diesel and Garrett. Ryder and Kenzo are out working. Garrett offers to finish her tattoo for her, and they all like this plan and get set up. Garrett starts working on her leg and zones right in. Diesel is highly amused watching, knowing that getting tattoos turns Roxy on regularly, never mind having Garrett do it. Diesel can't contain himself after a bit and clues Garrett in. He's like, what the fuck? They have another 30 minutes left, and now he's clued in to how turned on she is and the noises that she's making. He's no longer zoned into this. Diesel's like, let her sit on my dick so you don't have to see how wet she is.
Does that make sense?
Diesel, it does. If he looked out the window and it was actually raining cats, he'd be like, oh, nice day. That's this man. Garrett struggles, obviously, through finishing up. But when he finally does, he's like, open up. You can thank me now with your mouth. And Garrett fucks Roxy's mouth while Diesel fucks her from beneath her. After they finish and clean up, the boys need to go talk to someone at one of their strip clubs, and Roxy wants to go, so they all get dressed and head out. Cherry, the person they need to see, is in a meeting, so they grab a table. Roxy heads to the bathroom real quick, but some meathead tries to throw money at her for a dance, and she punches him and takes out her knife that she had sheathed under her dress and scares the dude off. He's not the only idiot who sees a girl in a dress at a strip club and assumes. A guy comes to their table to let the boys know that Cherry is ready and snaps at Roxy, who's in Diesel's lap, to get backstage. Garrett brings the dude to the floor until Cherry herself comes out to get them, and Garrett tells the dude to leave before he changes his mind. Cherry leads them to her office, seeming to dismiss Roxy, trying to act all sexual to get the boys' attention. Roxy tells her to drop the act. They aren't there to hurt her, just to talk. Suddenly, Cherry breathes and becomes normal and focuses on Roxy. Like, what do you need? You're clearly the one in charge here. Roxy works the room like
so
magic.
fucking funny.
It was kind of funny. Like, at first I was like, this fucking bitch. And then I was like, oh, okay. Right? Like, Roxy works the room like magic, asking for info for who is feeding information to the triad. Cherry is aware, but has only been able to get out that it's an old friend. Cherry lets her know when people from the Triad's crew will be there next, and they're happy with this. Cherry also makes it known that she was close to Rich too, and knows who Roxy is, and is Team Roxy.
I mean, I'm Team Roxy.
When they get back, Ryder is deep in the financials of ex-employees trying to find a connection. Roxy brings him coffee and helps him go through it. Ryder asks her if she's happy there, if she would choose them or still want to leave. She explains it's not that simple. She wants the freedom to choose them, and that gives them plenty to think about. Diesel's in a weird mood the next morning, so Garrett agrees to let Roxy give him a tattoo to get Diesel involved. Which, honestly, this was never resolved. We never found out what this was all about, his weird mood or anything. It was never talked about.
No, it's very annoying.
It's a big step for Garrett, though, and Roxy and Diesel work together to do a snake across some of his scarring. So cool for Garrett, but sad for Diesel and us. Kenzo brings Roxy home a car, and she loves it, but is confused and keeps thinking back to her conversation with Ryder. After she goes to bed, the boys have a meeting and decides Roxy needs to be set free. like a bird, like a virgin. Just kidding, obviously not.
Definitely not.
Diesel and Garrett are pissed, but Kenzo and Ryder are hopeful that she'll come back to them on her own. Ryder and Kenzo wait for her to wake up and come out of her room. When she does, Ryder tells her that he loves her and storms off. Oh, he's taking one of Garrett's moves. Kenzo explains that he loves her, but knows that she can't love him back until she's free. He tells her she's free to leave, that they won't chase her, but that he hopes she'll choose to stay. She asks if she's really free. He says yes, and she books it out the door. I think it was just instinctual, like,
I would have done the same thing.
yeah.
To be fully real here.
Honestly, I'm surprised she didn't like take like weeks to like just
Right?
saying. Spoiler alert, but just saying. She makes it to her car before realizing she doesn't actually want to leave, and she turns to go back. And standing there is a crying Kenzo saying, I guess I lied. I will chase you. They kiss. Diesel meets them in the elevator and they head back to a cranky Ryder and Garrett. They're all pissed she left.
I would be pissed too.
Kenzo tells her to strip, and they take turns fucking her and using her mouth as punishment for her leaving, which she doesn't find very punishing. The next morning at breakfast.
None of these punishments does she find punishing, literally at all.
The next morning at breakfast, they really should have named this book The Breakfast Table.
Den of Breakfast.
Right. Or just simply The Breakfast Table, because literally like almost every chapter it's the breakfast table and they're discussing things at the breakfast table.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've said the word breakfast like 18 times during this. Anywho, back at the breakfast table, Ryder gets a call. The triad blew up their childhood home. They plan their strikes back. Roxy's able to help too with her bar contacts. Ryder has to go to a board meeting, so he picks up Roxy, who is only in her nightshirt, and declares that he's taking her with him and carries her out. During the meeting, they discuss all the board meeting stuff, and towards the end, they discuss the entry into the catering and bar businesses. Ryder tells them that Roxy is in charge of that part. So anything to do with that goes to her. So interesting.
Giving her a job that she didn't even ask for.
Yeah, he's like, well, Roxers falls under that umbrella. So your bar falls under that umbrella. So there you go. The next morning, one of their safe houses goes dark and they split up. Yes. So they split up and check out businesses and properties because the triad will be looking to hit back. Roxy is asked to please not leave the apartment so that they can concentrate. Garrett is checking out some of the safe houses in the area and finds that 4 of them are trashed. The triad obviously has info and they need to find out who is leaking it. He stops for coffee and sees her, Daphne, his ex, the one who carved him up. He's stunned. Now, we don't get a ton of backstory on his story. I thought that he was eventually going to like have a conversation with Roxy and like explain his whole story, but he doesn't. So I'm just going to tell you based off like one little dream he had snippet of ours and something the triad said, that apparently he proposed to her, but earlier that day or the night before, she had gotten an offer from a triad member to become like with her, to be in a relationship with her or something for like money and power or something if she betrayed Garrett. So she literally,
it was wild,
in tying him down and was like cutting him up and slicing off all his skin to like kill him. But apparently she was only with him for the money, so she was just taking great glee in torturing him.
Bitch.
Right. He's like, how is she alive? He thought the guys took care of her while he was in the hospital. When he asks her how she's alive, because she comes right up to him, she says it wasn't easy. She had things to survive for, though. She says she hears that he has a new toy, but that the girl probably doesn't know what he likes. He gets angry and grabs her hood and yanks it off her face. Half her face is gone, melted. No eye, hair, nothing. Just skin that looks like it's dripped and frozen like that. She tells him that they will pay for what they did. He grabs her throat, which gathers attention because remember, they're in a coffee shop. One of the guards says in his ear that they need to leave. He lets go and she says, say hi to your girlfriend, and scrambles off. Garrett tells the guard to follow her. He goes to call Ryder to tell him he found the mole and realizes that she pickpocketed his phone. Roxy has been busy with bar accounts and setting things up, but she's bored and decides to break into the armory. She hugs her beloved bat just as she gets a text from Garrett saying he needs help and to meet him at a hotel quickly. And she grabs some weapons and rounds up some guards and heads out. They get to the building and she doesn't see him, and his phone goes straight to voicemail. She's like, ain't no way I'm entering a random building based off a text. When bullets start raining down on the vehicle. When it quiets, she rises to where she had dove onto the floor to see both guards dead in the front seat. Not wanting to be a sitting duck, she creeps out the door on the other side to use the car as a shield. As someone goes to open the car door, she books it to the side alley. 4 dudes in helmets chase her. She takes one down as shots of theirs go wide. One yells, don't shoot, we need her alive. She climbs up and over a fence. One manages to grab her, but she fights him off and manages to get a shot. She goes to shoot at the others, but her gun is empty, so she tosses it and runs into a parking lot, grabbing 2 of the knives she has stashed. She crouches behind a car to wait for one and stabs him in the leg and grabs his gun to shoot the other, but he was faster and knocks her out with his gun. She wakes up in a car and carefully, with minimal movement, takes off her heel and then stabs the guy next to her in the neck and face and right in the eyeball, and then takes his gun and knife. She shoots the guy in the passenger seat, slices his neck open, and then shoots the driver, crashing the car. They had backup in cars, though. Men rain down on her and someone sticks her with a needle and lights out. So much going on. Ryder's pulled out of his meeting with the news that Roxy was taken. Garrett sends him videos of the car incidents. Diesel has someone trying to track the cars that took her. Ryder goes to get Kenzo, who is out of cell range. On the way, Ryder calls the main triad businesses and leaves a message. They fucked with the wrong family. The streets are about to bleed with anyone connected to them. They go through bodies left and right until one of them says that they took over one of the Viper's safe houses and are probably keeping Roxy there. There are so many. They need to find out which one. The men Garrett sent to trail Daphne turned up dead, so that's no help either. While Diesel and Garrett hit up triad businesses and go on an information and murder spree, Ryder and Kenzo are trying to find Roxy's location. They figure out that she's most likely being held at the old hotel. It wouldn't have been one that they even checked on. It's old and connected to their father, where they killed him. They make the plan to hit it dark. When Roxy wakes up, one of the triad brothers introduces her to his interrogator/torturer. Roxy runs her mouth, which amuses the dude, but doesn't help her get less injured. He's instructed to get her to tell him information and how to kill the Vipers, and then to kill her. This man goes at her hard, breaking shit, pulling shit off, waterboarding her, until he needs a break and to update his boss. He hasn't gone long when an explosion sounds. Left alone, she throws herself around to smash through the chair. It works, but she completely dislocates her shoulder. She yells out, "Oh, look, I'm free," loudly so that the guard on the other side of the door comes in, and she uses the chair pieces to knock him out, taking his gun and getting out of the room. She's taking down a guy in the hallway when the boys find her, a trail of bodies behind them. They don't have much time for reunions, though. They need to get out of here, and the building still isn't cleared. She asks Ryder to pop her shoulder back in before they head to what is waiting for them upstairs. They split off to cover more ground and find the triad member. Diesel, Ryder, and Roxy make their way through taking people down until finding the guy with the 3 tattooed on his neck. He makes some kind of comment about Garrett already being done for and being taken, and Roxy smashes his head in, and they go off to find Garrett and Kenzo. They find Kenzo badly wounded, who confirms that they took Garrett. They get Kenzo straight to the doctor and then get word that Triad number 2 dude is at the restaurant. So they head there. They give him the chance to tell them where Garrett is. He refuses and calls Roxy names, so Roxy starts shooting his guards while the boys take out the rest. He gives the address. Number 1 is there with Garrett along with Daphne and lots of guards. Roxy shoots him and then they leave. But Roxy doesn't know how to use a gun, so.
It was that one lesson.
Magic.
The one lesson did it.
It even was retroactive, the one lesson. Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, that's how that works. It's kind of magic. When they arrive, another set of cars pull up, and Kenzo hobbles out of one, saying, "He's my brother. We're in this together." They blow up the gate, and it's on. While the boys start taking down guards, Roxy heads in and up the stairs to the second floor. Her job is to find Garrett, and that's their best guess on where they're holding him. She makes her way through the guards and finds the room and sees Daphne going at Garrett with a knife, who is tied down. Roxy takes her bat and swings it at Daphne's face, and then she starts punching and punching and punching her until there isn't much face left to hit. Bye, Daphne.
That was a lot of rage.
Yep. She goes to Garrett and tries to free him, but he's completely shut down and in survival mode, only seeing Daphne attacking. So when Roxy gets a wrist free, he starts choking her. She relaxes against it, and he breaks through enough to see that it's Roxy. They cry and hug and hold each other. But after a moment, she's like, "We gotta go." She helps hold him up, and they stumble downstairs and out to the driveway. Ryder and Kenzo spot them and come to help. She starts asking where Diesel is when she sees him sprinting towards them, and then the house explodes behind him. They get back and rush Garrett to the waiting doctor. When the doctor finishes, he tells them that if Garrett can make it through the night, he will live. That was dramatic. The doctor tapes up, right?
I mean, wouldn't that be the case if he made it through the night, he would live?
The doctor tapes up Roxy's broken fingers and toes, and they get cleaned up and wait. And I just want to take a moment to mention that Roxy was smashed up in a car accident, and then she was tortured where almost
she had
all her
fingernails and toenails pulled out.
Almost all her fingers and toes were broken. Almost all her ribs were broken.
Yeah.
And had no issue shooting guns, had no issues running around or holding up a Hulk-sized man.
Didn't she even wasn't she bleeding out to the point she almost passed out too at one point?
Yes, because they were just stabbing her and cutting her, passing out from blood loss. And there's not one mention of her. There's not one mention, but not only that, but she was able to carry on through all of this.
I know.
And there was not one mention of her stopping to get a drink either.
Don't get it.
And they had to rush Kenzo to the doctor. They had to rush Garrett to the doctor, but no one thought that their beloved Roxy needed a doctor in any of this when they rescued her. I'm just
I get it.
When Garrett wakes up in the morning, they all take a breath and Roxy passes out from exhaustion because, bro, they were able to bring the last Triad dude, the number 1 tattoo guy, back with them. So Ryder and Diesel go both pay him a visit in the basement. There's a lot of aftermath cleanup, healing, arranging funerals for their men, Ryder taking on all the guilt for everyone, getting hurt, until Roxy confronts him about it all and lets him fuck her in the ass. But, there's a lot of shit going on. After a week, they finally get a day where they all are there to have breakfast together, because remember, this book is now called The Breakfast Table. And Ryder tells Roxy that they need to talk. They don't think her father should get away with what he did, but they should get away with what they did. Just keep that in mind. He needs to pay. She appreciates it, but it's her father and her responsibility. He dies today.
He should have died so many times
yesterday at the breakfast table. They drive to his house and Roxy pounds on the door. He sees them and says, "The fuck you want? You bought her. I don't want her back." Roxy pushes through the door and Ryder slams him into a chair. Roxy has a moment of clarity listening to him run his mouth, just how weak he is and how she's not even a little bit afraid of him anymore. He's not even worth prolonging this. She takes her knife and slices it across his throat, and they leave. Bye, Daddy.
It's very anticlimactic.
Yep. Super.
It's like,
Especially when in the beginning I was like, I really hope he gets a good death, and then we get that.
no, that's what we get.
Yep. Many weeks and many fuckings later, they're all
It's just funny.
they're all at the breakfast table again.
Just, I'm sorry. Are they?
When Ryder tells Roxy that they have something to show her, they blindfold her and take her on a drive. When the blindfold is taken off, they're in front of a house. Well, more of a fortress. Their new home. Ryder has been remodeling it for their needs for quite a while. She's happy. Then we have an epilogue. 6 months later, Roxy is setting up her 15th new bar when the boys come in and force her with them. All of a sudden, she's in front of a judge, and Diesel is excitedly yelling, "We're getting married!" The judge reminds them that this isn't legal. Diesel pulls his gun on the judge, and she sees that he's actually tied to a chair, so they kidnapped this judge, and says, "It's legal if we say it is. Now marry us." The ceremony is quick, and they all have rings, and that's our story. This was a wild ride.
Yeah. So, who was your favorite character?
Probably Diesel and Roxy. Probably Diesel.
Yeah, I agree. Diesel made me laugh quite a bit, and I was
Yeah.
here for it all the time.
He had these like little fanny packs that he would bring on missions,
Bro,
and they were like
so funny.
covered in glitter and whatever cartoon print that he had at the time. Like one was a unicorn, one was something else or whatever. And they always had the most random shit in it. One had bombs, one like it was just
Yeah.
my pack. Sometimes it has food, he says. Sometimes tacos.
Dude, that one fucking took me out. Like tacos, I get hungry.
He was a
your-
good time.
Yeah, least favorite. Obviously, Roxy's dad.
Yeah.
And obviously the lady, whatever
Yeah.
her name was.
Daphne.
That one. Bitch face. The cunt bag. You can't call people cunts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
All right. So Amazon gives us a 4.3 and Goodreads gives this a 3.6. Okay. So
It was so hard.
Hear
This
me
one's a
out.
hard rating.
okay. This book, really popular. So when I rate it, please don't come for me.
I've rated things that people really rate highly low before. Now I'm wondering, now I'm interested in what you're gonna rate this.
So
Oh boy.
here's the thing.
I'm intrigued. Now you have my attention.
The book, way too long. Way too long.
Okay, agreed.
So much could have been cut out.
Agreed.
So, and then obviously there was stuff I didn't enjoy. This is not really my type of book.
No. It's more my vibe. Right.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 2.5.
Wow.
I
Okay.
don't really like it that much. Like,
So
okay, so
the
I
first-
like there was other stuff, like there was stuff that I enjoyed in this book, but the stuff that I didn't enjoy and the length and
overpowered it
just
for you.
it just completely overpowered how much I could
You just didn't enjoy it.
controversial take. I preferred The Sinner over this book. And I fucking had a
Wow.
really hard time with that book.
Wow.
I preferred this one over that one. There was like things that were like dropped that I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Okay.
can
Okay.
we,
I
like,
also
go?
preferred The Sinner over this one because I also enjoyed The Sinner. But
we
so
all know how I feel.
the first half of this book, I was here for.
And that's the thing. Had
This was
ended at
at
like
least a
60%, I was like,
solid-
okay.
Yeah. If this had ended at 60 or even 80% and had those few things wrapped up for me, this would have been a solid 4.5 star for me because I was here for it.
Yeah.
It should have been many of the scenes should have been edited out. Many stuff. Many stuff. Many of the scenes should have been edited out.
Yeah.
It was too long. There was too much going on. So much so that there were things that were dropped because there was so much going on. And you know how
Yeah.
much I hate dropped shit.
Yes.
But my problem is I was into the story and I was into the characters and I was into it. So I hovered the whole time between a 4 and a 3.5, like my gut telling me 4 because I enjoyed the ride, but my cynical logistical brain telling me a 3.5 because of the length and the issues I had. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I even like highlighted a couple sentences that I was like, wait, what happened here? Because it wasn't necessarily edited poorly, but there were a couple
I've heard I
that,
saw some other reviews like afterwards actually while we're doing this of people saying like the grammar, like some of the
and
grammar
that
was
was my
really bad,
problem. It wasn't that it was like, but it was some of the grammar that
was
why,
chosen
why would you choose that to right?
right.
It was just an odd choice. Like technically it made sense, sure, but not in a good
Right.
way, like not in a
Yeah. No, I
um
understand.
like and then there was this one that I highlighted. It said she will kill him, but she will make it hurt. What?
I mean, it makes sense.
Not in the not in the
Oh,
hold on. They give you more context.
because she's gonna
It
kill him, but oh, I guess and say, but
no, it
she will
was
make it hurt.
right. It was so it's time this bitch dies. Like it was in terms of Daphne,
Yeah.
like that she was going to kill Garrett.
Um,
She will kill him, but she will make it hurt. I was I think maybe she should have said she won't kill him, but she will make it hurt,
well, no, she planned to kill him, but she was planning on doing
or
it
she'll kill
slowly
him
to make it
and she will
that
make it
probably
hurt.
that one.
Right, like
Yeah.
pick something that
Yeah, yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. You know
That
what I
makes
mean?
sense. Yeah.
So I think in the end, I might just put a 3.75, even though I hate those little in the middles,
Yeah.
but just to appease my,
Your brain.
yeah. Because
I like it.
I was
I
here for
had
it. I
I think the problem
especially in
too.
the beginning with all of Diesel's
Yeah.
chaoticness, I was like, this is awesome. I am here for this. This Unhinged is
There's
like
just
I
an
am like
aggressive amount of breakfast.
all here for it. So yes, that was a lot of words to say. I'm going to go for 3.75. What is
Sounds
your
good.
cucumber rating?
Oh, it's up there because there was a lot. Even with the knife and the gun, like you should have seen my face. I went like this. I
But the
saw it.
amount of
I
times
went like this.
they vehemently said, we're not crossing swords, the fact that they stated that as like a big fuck you to me
Oh yeah.
docked points for me because I was like, fucking excuse me, buddy?
Right?
You're going to tell me you're not going to have a good time for me? You're going to tell me I'm not going to have a good time here?
Yeah.
I want you
Yeah.
to cross swords.
I want to say like probably like a 5 or 6. I wish there
Yeah.
was sword crossing. That would have been great.
I'm going to go 5 just because I'm pissy.
But that's fine. You can be pissy. I was pissy at the book. I think the other problem too is I think I fucked myself over and I went in with kind of high expectations based on things that I had heard, like how good the book, like, because this was a book, it's been on mine and your TBR. I believe
Yeah.
this was one that we brought together.
And I enjoyed the concept. I enjoyed the stories. I enjoyed the
Yeah. But it's
characters.
such a
It's
popular
just
book
so
too.
long.
So like, but we've also run into that where I need to learn my lesson. You also need to learn your lesson, where we will find like books that are relatively popular, especially on TikTok, and then we end up reading them, and then one of us, it's not usually both of us, it's usually one or the other doesn't enjoy the book as much. Yeah, survivability before we continue off on the
Yes.
whole thing. I'd be dead. How do I know this? I can't fight. I am a weak bitch. I would get kidnapped and be like, this is my life. And then they'd be like, I would die. I'm just,
I feel like I might actually survive, weirdly enough.
I wouldn't.
So the only thing that might break me is Diesel, and I might
Okay.
die there.
He's a big
Especially,
dude.
I didn't even mean that way. I just meant with his
Okay,
knee.
so
I
that's my
don't want
other
to be
criticism.
carved up.
Neither do I. I don't like paper cuts, okay?
Right? Like I really like okay, I definitely have
Thank you.
like the ADHD side that I have like bruises all over me and I don't remember where they came from. But that's not the same or cuts and stuff.
No.
And but
I
listen,
would
I
not
heal very slowly.
I don't like
I
being
would
punched in
probably
the
get an
face.
infection and die. So I'm actually going to change that. Because of Diesel, I probably would die due to infection. Thank you and good night. Let's find out what we're reading next.
Did she died from dysentery. This is the Oregon Trail. It's the Oregon
Yes.
Trail.
I didn't have enough vitamin C.
That's that's scurvy, though,
Scurvy.
isn't it?
I know,
It's like those are two.
scurvy.
Hold on, it's like dysentery and scurvy are two
Vitamin
different
C
things.
is good all around.
That is true. Oh, nothing like that vitamin D.
Whatever. Let's find out if we survive next week. What are we reading next?
I don't know.
What's gonna top 4 men?
That's a good question. Alrighty, and let's spin it. Well, we're taking a hard left turn.
You just love that NASCAR track lately.
It's your NASCAR track. And actually, this is your book.
It is.
This is your
Well,
book,
I did ask how we were going to top 4 men.
apparently with unicorns. Surprise. So we are going to be reading Used by the Unicorn
Ooh, it's a cozy monster romance. Oh, by
by
Amy
Amy
Wright.
Wright.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, this chick's got blue hair to match her unicorn. All right, let's find out.
It's green.
Oh, it looks blue on the cover. Yeah, I guess
It looks more teal than blue.
Would you make a deal to be used by a unicorn and his herd? Okay, so we're going from 4 men to a herd of unicorns. Okay, so I guess it's not such a drastic. I've got a
So the
secret.
left turn is a little less lefty turn.
Right. It's just kind of like a veered into an alley. I've got a secret and I haven't told a soul. I'm pregnant to my deadbeat ex-husband and thousands of dollars in debt. So when the chance comes up to be an escort with monstrous deals, I jump at it. After all, it sounds like my dream job. I wear pretty lingerie, I flirt, serve drinks, and the perks are I can play with a whole herd of unicorns if I want to. Sign me up. Right? Maybe. I mean, maybe, yeah.
Minus the pregnant part.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm in my hoe era, okay? Gotta have some fun while I can. Only one of the herd won't stop watching me. Sterling is big and strong and hung like a horse. Well, duh, he is a fucking horse. During the party, he makes my pleasure the main attraction, and I'm absolutely swooning. But when he tells me I'm his bondmate and he wants me to join his herd, I run a mile. I'm not looking for anything serious. Not again. Besides, there's no way he'll stick around when he learns my secret.
Well, this will be interesting. We haven't read about unicorns yet.
Never mind unicorn orgy.
So figure out next week if the orgy is great
Oh, make sure to keep reading.
and keep it smutty.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.